So I decided that I was going to record videos elsewhere so I can try and get my audio up, and needless to say, it worked phenomenally. I'm going to do a different style of video, hope you guys enjoy it. Something about subscribers. It all started July 11th of this year. We were going to tour someone on Prototech. He's pretty well known for his world border stuff. Overall, though, I thought it would be a really cool opportunity to say, hey, how about we go break the world border too? And so I set out on a very long journey to do that. First thing I had to consider was how am I going to get out there in the first place? Well, luckily that was very quickly found out. I just hopped into minecart and kind of pressed tab a few times and things eventually started to work. Here's an entire video on that. Please leave me alone. From here, I was not able to find anything helpful as to how to generate chunks. So I decided that I was going to go all the way back into beta version 1.7. Luckily, I did get this to work, which was to go into beta 1.7 and migrate the chunks all the way over to a 1.16 world, and it actually worked. The next problem was, how do I do this in newer versions? Well, it's literally the exact same way I did it in beta 1.7. As it turns out, all you have to do is go out there and move the chunks. Hooray, you did it. Great job. Only there's already a mod that kinda does that for you, and it was pretty easy to do anyway. So, came the hard part. How do you get chunks past 2 billion to generate? There's one retard version that we all just absolutely love. It is so no one ever had anything to hate about it. Yeah. Well, as it turns out, all you had to do was hop into that version because it's broken anyway. So ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you 1.13, a lovely land of lag, underwater spectacularness, and just lag. No, that's about it. Now you might be wondering, what in the world does 1.13 have to do with getting out of bounds from that 2 billion limit? I don't even know. My guess is that Mojang had introduced a lot of new chunk things. As to why it lets you get all the way to 34 billion from this point, I don't know. It's 1.13, man. So that brings us to where we are now. Me having a remake of this video. Well, let me go through a lovely tutorial. Whoa, a tutorial? I don't even know what that word means. Nice. Well, anyway, 1.13 is a lovely version. Load it up. You load up any 1.13 version for all I care, because it works in all of them. After you load up 1.13, create a world, name that world whatever the heck you want. You'll probably delete the world in the end. So after you create a world, you're going to want to go ahead and log off of that world. This is where everything gets really complicated. Firstly, you need to open up an NBT editor. If I remember, I'll put it in the description, but on Zoom. You load up NBT editor and go ahead and change your player data. Now, in 1.13, from what I understand, you have to change both the player data and the level.dat data. Now, the level.dat data is typically in charge of like what your world seed is and things like that. You're gonna have to change your player data in the level.dat data as well, from what I know. After you change your coordinates to anything below 34 million, you're good to go ahead and reload the world. Make sure you save. So now that you reloaded the world, you will have realized that the game crashes. You can load up any version 1.13 and up. Now, let's be realistic here. No one likes 1.13, so you're going to load 1.14 or higher. So now that your game committed poo-poo, you can go ahead and go into the files, go to the region file. Inside of that file, and you're going to see a giant named region file, most likely. Most of them will be things like r.00, r.01. This one's probably going to be somewhere like r.4 million. You can go ahead and copy the ones with the longest names, so you will use them for later. Afterwards, you're going to want to create a new world. After that world is loaded up, you're going to want to go to the region file again, but this time inside of the world that you just create. Afterwards, you're going to paste in the files that you had copied from earlier, and you're going to want to rename them. Rename them to like r.0.0.mca, and that should just do the trick for you. This will set them anywhere really close to the coordinate 00. Region files are 512 by 512 in area. This means your chunks can be anywhere within that area. Now that I've gotten that part passed, let's get on to the rest of the tutorial. Oh my gosh, I'm done with the tutorial? Oh my gosh. Alright, so for a few disclaimers, do not load this in a world you like. Your world's probably in a soft lock after you get those chunks to load. Second warning, absolutely do not go past 34 billion unless you want your computer to turn into a microwave. After your computer turns into a microwave, you're going to realize it's just spamming files on your computer, and that's probably your hint that you should probably go ahead and close Minecraft. The reason why it does this to me is a little bit unknown, but I have a feeling it has something to do with the chunks hitting the integer limit. Afterwards, it's going to try and write those chunks into region files, but the only problem is chunk -2000 is not at chunk 1,000,000. So the game's a little confused now because you're trying to load chunks from places where they shouldn't be loading. And so the game's going to start overwriting chunks inside of that world. Now, this only happens if you manage to save and quit, and it will never save and quit because unless you have like 8 terabytes of storage on your computer and millions of processing power, I don't really expect it to continue all the way through. Third disclaimer. Frick, what was the third one again? Another thing is, do not load the regions in a world you love. You can easily delete a region with some very magnificent build you have and have to restart. Now, let's get into the whys, hows, and things that probably no one cares about, but I'm still gonna rant about anyway. How does this work? Well, a little complicated, but really all you're doing is moving region files that you generated in 1.13. Since 1.13 is stupid, it is very easy to load them out there. Afterwards, you just simply copy them and paste them in another world. Pretty much what you're doing is just simply grabbing chunks from this world and going, hey, I want them over here. And it works pretty simply, actually. Next up, what are the limitations? Anything under 34 billion. Does this work in the end and nether? Yes. Other than that, there really aren't many weird properties to be had with this. I hope you guys liked the video. Please leave a like, comment or something like that. And here's a graph of subscribers. That's pretty cool. Do you guys like that graph? I have another one. This is my views. Why do people care about that